tell me about that. What does that mean? You like to do all the work and not be seen? I mean, I get that. That's part of what I love about directing.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where it comes from, but I don't like showing my real self to people.
I mean, do you feel like you still get to show people your real self when you work, though? Or with your work? Or
Yeah, the part of myself that I want to show people.
What do you want to show people?
I don't like probing questions. That's what an interview is. You should just record me working, and then that should be my staff interview.
What would I learn if I recorded you working? That you stand up at your desk?
Yeah, that I stand at my desk. I talk to myself a lot. That I really have fun working. Like, I like solving puzzles and stuff like that. Like, I'll talk to myself about solving the puzzles.
Like, talk it out while you're doing it?
Yeah. And then I'll be like, oh, that's why that number's there, and that makes sense, and blah, blah, blah.
Does the rogue give you a lot of problems to solve? Nothing but
yes,
problems.
No, I was going to say easy problems, easy mysteries. Getting ready for the audit, I wouldn't say was like a problem, but like that was hard work. Just sort of like compiling and getting everything together.
For the rogue's first self-audit.
For the first audit, yeah, especially because you don't know what to expect. The second one was much easier.
And how do you feel when something like that is over?
Ready to do better next year.
Yeah.
Like, I know what to do.
You feel prepared. You feel in control.
Yeah.
So what did you want to be when you were a little girl?
Mom.
A mom?
Yeah.
You still want to be a mom?
Yeah.
Do you remember the first play you ever saw?
The earliest memory I have of seeing a play is actually seeing Cats.
Okay.
My, like, 9th grade boyfriend bought me tickets for us to go see Cats. It was really cute. And I wasn't, like, blown away by Cats, because it was, like, cats, but...
But was there something there that you thought, I want to somehow be involved in this. I want to be these cats' accountant.
What? No. But I'd always had sort of an artistic bend. I mean, I did a lot of writing when I was younger, and like I used to write songs and poems and stories. So like I've always had that like in me. I do want to say I then later saw The Lion King with my grandma, and that play blew me away. Like the technical aspects of it. I was a couple years into my theater career at that point, so I understood more of what went into making it as cool as it did. And so like it was just cooler and more impactful because I knew how much went into it. Yeah, definitely the more that I learned about theater, the more excited I got about it.
And you went to the U of A?
Yes.
What was your major or majors there?
Theatrical production, focusing on stage management and secondarily on lighting design. I had been the stage manager in high school for my drama teacher since like 8th grade. I feel like some kids who do maybe drama during high school, but they're like, oh, but when I go to college, I'm going to study engineer, or I'm going to be a nurse, or something like that. I never had that. I mean, I guess maybe because I wanted to be a mom and you don't go to school for that.
Right.
So I was like, well, I've been doing this and I'm good at this and it's fun, so I'll keep doing it. At first it was only stage management, and then I learned more about lighting as I was in the program, and again, the more I learn about something, the more I'm interested in it, and so I decided to add that as an extra emphasis.
Very cool. And they go sort of hand in hand, right?
Very much so, I think, because the stage manager calls the show, which is like saying when the lights go, when the sound goes, when the rail cues go, to make sure it's all together. And here at the Rogue, the stage manager takes the light cues on the board. And so I think an understanding of how lighting works and why we use lighting for shows and how it can influence the show is really important for a stage manager, and vice versa. I think I was better at lighting right when I started because of all my experience stage managing.
And how did you first come to the Rogue?
I was introduced to the Rogue through Matt Bowdren. He was in Othello, which I was stage managing, and we got to know each other, and I don't know, I guess I told him I wasn't really sure what I was doing after college, and he said that I should interview, and so I did, and I came and met with Joe and Cindy, and then my second interview I met with Joe and Cindy and you, and then I stage managed The Picture of Dorian Gray. Was the first show that I worked on here.
What was it like coming into the Rogue and the way the Rogue does theater?
It was really cool. This is a place where I can fit in because like they're not tech heavy, but tech is still valued, and it's a little bit of a slower pace, although it's kind of funny saying that now, because when you work on all 5 shows, it's different. But I remember us really getting into the text and like the meaning of what was going on, instead of just like, here's the blocking, go, go, go.
You've gone from being a stage manager to a much more administrative presence.
Yeah.
What has that journey been?
When I first started stage managing almost every show, I had a day job of delivering sandwiches.
Oh my God, I forgot about the sandwiches.
And it was the worst. And I think after like a year and a half of doing that, I was like, this is enough. And I approached Cindy and I was like, do you need help here during the day? Like, I will do anything. And that's pretty much how it started. And then it just kind of grew from there. She came up with like a list of things for me to do. And then slowly but surely, I just was around and started doing more stuff and picked up stuff that was in my sort of like wheelhouse, like the finances and stuff like that. And then I left for a year.
Where did you go?
Chicago.
How was that?
It was fun until the pandemic hit. It was not somewhere I wanted to live all the time. Like, to visit, so fun.
Yep.
But I don't really like a big city. I mean, I was born and raised here, and I wanted to be around my family again. So I came back, and then as it happened, the person who had replaced me, Megan Coy, happened to want to leave at that time.
Right, because you and her had opposite pandemic reactions.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
To working at the Rogue.
Yes, yeah. I came back with like a lot of renewed energy, actually, because I worked at this children's theater in Chicago for 6 months or something, and learned a lot about the administrative stuff, like finances and payroll.
I remember this. I feel like you kind of saw your administrative future there a little bit.
Yeah,
because because that was heavy admin.
Yeah, it was no stage management, no lighting. And when they hired me on, they were just going through a lot of changes, and so I ended up getting a lot more responsibilities than I probably should have. But I think it worked out to my advantage. So yeah, I think I came back with like a lot of energy, and grew a lot, especially in that first year back. But also I stage managed all 5 shows that first year during the pandemic. I honestly don't know how I did that. It was very, very hard.
I don't think any of us know how we did anything that year. We just know we sure did, and it was wild and weird.
And like, kind of cool to look back on.
Oh my God,
and
absolutely.
Be like, oh, yeah, like I survived that. That's cool.
So what do you think in your life prepared you to be where you are today, to be working at the Rogue?
I did actually always know that I wanted to work in like a small community of people. Like, I never wanted to do a big corporate job or anything like that. More than the work, the people are important to me. That's why I ended up going to a small high school. I had the opportunity to go to Tucson High, but I stayed at Sonoran Science Academy, and my graduating class was like 35 people.
Oh wow.
Even the U of A was kind of overwhelming for me sometimes. So I think that definitely led me to a place like the Rogue. In addition to being a mom, I did talk about for a long time that I just wanted to be someone's assistant. Like, I just really liked assisting someone and like anticipating their needs, which is kind of what stage managing is, but on a larger scale. And I just feel like I do that for Cindy, and I love that relationship with her. Being able to anticipate her needs and like know what she wants before she wants it, and just like, you know, making her happy in that way, that she feels taken care of and she can focus on, you know, the bigger things that she needs to focus on.
As maybe the only person on staff who does not act on stage from time to time or all the time.
Yeah.
What is that like?
If I'm being totally honest, like, I obviously think about it from time to time.
Being on stage?
Yeah, because, you know, as the stage manager, you're in the room. I feel like I could say that line differently. You know, like, you have those intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, that's why people go up on stage.
Yeah. I don't know. It's never interested me enough to, like, jump that hurdle. And I just like being surrounded by, I mean, actors are kind of unique people. They're kind of wacky in like the most endearing way. And so it's enough for me to just be surrounded by that energy.
And you're going to be stepping back from stage managing next season, right?
Yeah, I don't like these questions. Yes.
Great. What will you miss the least about stage managing?
Keeping to a schedule. I know that sounds kind of weird, but
like on a show day?
Yeah. I'm like, ugh, the show has to start at 7:30. That's so annoying. What if I have to go to the bathroom at 7:29? You know, like, I just want to be able to like move on my own schedule a little bit. So that always like was a challenge. Oh, that was a challenge for me as a stage manager, was like the actors like to joke that I just make up call times, which I don't. I just give them call times leading up to 7:28, which is when I give places. But a little bit towards the end, like, I definitely was like fighting with time. I was like, I don't want you to control me anymore.
Could you crash course me through a stage managing schedule?
Of a performance day?
Yeah.
So you arrive at the theater, well, an hour and a half to an hour before the actors do, depending on how much there needs to be done pre-show. And you get all of the systems turned on, sound system if you're using it, light board, and then make sure all your props are preset and do whatever extensive prop preset you need to do. And then sweep and or mop the stage, depending on what needs to be done. By that point, we're getting a little bit close to the actors arriving. You want to make sure, if you really want to get ahead, that you have your like rehearsal or performance report set up, prepped, and the daily schedule for the next day prepped. And then by that time the actors are getting there, which is at either 6:45 or 1:15, depending if it's an evening or matinee show. At that point you either do a music call, a dance call, a fight call, or just vocal warm-ups. And so the actors have 15 minutes to use the stage before we close the stage and open the house. So supervising that, making sure all the actors are here, calling anyone who's late. And then at 7 o'clock, the stage manager closes the stage and gives the house over to the house manager. That's when the calls start leading up to the show. So at 7 o'clock and or 1:30, you give a 30-minute call. And then stage managers do slightly different calls. But what I was doing most recently was a 30-minute call, a 15-minute call, a 5-minute call, and then a places. You can do like 30, 20, 10, 5, 2 places. But my 30-minute call is at 7 or 1:30, but then my 15-minute call is technically at 7:13, because that's 15 minutes before 7:28 when I'll actually call places, because if you called places at 7:30, the show would never start at 7:30. Wow, I should have just said that to the actors.
They would never understand that.
Well, because they have more time,
They wouldn't be
because there's the
satisfied
curtain
by that,
speech,
yeah.
and they're like, they know they have more time. But I like to know that everyone's in place so that I don't panic. So yeah, I call places at 7:28. And then I let the director know, whoever's going to give the curtain speech, that I'm going up, let the musicians know, and then I climb on up the ladder and the music stops and the show starts.
And you sit right here.
Yep.
What do you love to do when you're not working? What gives you energy to work?
I do adult gymnastics and partner acro, which is really fun. I really like physical activities.
Partner acrobatics?
Yes, partner acrobatics. Kind of like handstands and cartwheels and stuff like that, but like off another person's body, like handstanding into their hands and they're holding you up, that kind of stuff. What
is the advantage or appeal of doing a handstand off another person as opposed to like the floor?
I don't know, I'm a very physical person. Like physical contact has a lot of meaning for me. So I think it's just like a nice way to connect with other people, and there's like a lot of trust involved, a lot of trust and a lot of focus, right? Because like you can't let your partner down. You have to do your part and they have to do their part. I think it's my version of acting in a way.
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, I would never like perform it, but do you think I should talk about the Shania?
Sure.
And then when you interview Shannon, she should talk about it?
Sure, let's try it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We can talk about it. Oh, I have to ask you about it?
Yeah.
So what? Who are the Shania?
The Shania are Shannon and Shannon. And we both work in the box office. She's the other person who answers the phone, and sometimes people think that she's me, and people think that I'm her. When I first met her, I just have never met someone who has the same name as me who I don't feel competition with. But, like, to work at a place where there are 6 staff members and 2 Shannons and 2 Christophers, like, it's weird.
Do I have to go fight Chris Pancratz now?
What? No. But, so, yeah, I don't know. Shannon and I just, like, hit it off right away, and it just has been a really fun relationship, like, work relationship to have, where we really, like, know each other really well and work really well together, and it makes working more fun. And I think that comes through, like, when we're working together at the box office. It comes through to the patrons and stuff. So that's what the Shania is.
What would you miss the most about the Rogue?
The community, like Joe and Cindy and what they've created. I feel like things like that come along, once in a while. And I don't know that maybe there would be another thing like that in my lifetime. I kind of felt like that about my high school experience. That felt like a tight-knit family. But it is rare. So that's what I would miss the most.